I usually do like a very informal meeting, and I always tell them, I was like, this is your chance to interview me.
Right.
But guess what? I'm also interviewing them.
Right.
To make sure that we are a good fit.
Right.
And that I am going to be able to provide the best service to
Right.
them. And if we're not, then we find somebody that is a good fit.
Right. Welcome to another episode of Get Real with Liz. And today I have a special guest, a really good friend of mine. So,
Hi.
can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what inspires you?
Oh, what inspires me? Okay, so I'm Sonam Narayan. I go by So. I am a realtor on the Central Coast. What inspires me? Powerful, strong women.
Like me.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. That is why I'm here.
And so we met. Can you tell us a little bit of how we met?
So we met because I had a listing in Guadalupe, and you came by to look at it, and I think we had a human moment, right? Your phone was dying during a FaceTime.
Right.
And I came out in my pajamas and brought you
I
a
knocked
phone
on
charger.
her door because she was also the neighbor.
Yep. Yeah, I actually lived a couple houses down. Yeah.
And she saved me from that episode. But I wanted her to tell that story because, you know, it is very important in real estate or in any business to have relationships with other colleagues, you know? So in this case, you know, even though we're competition, we're really we're competition.
Not competition. I was like, there's plenty for everybody.
No. What I'm saying is like realtors think like, oh, we're competition because you're a realtor and I'm a realtor. But in reality, I wanted you to say that story because there is no competition, like she said. You know, the sun shines bright on everyone. And it's important to have relationships.
It's a relationship business. We come from a place of abundance.
Yeah, because we eventually are going to have to work together, whether, you know, we like it or not. We're going to have to work together, but also it kind of helps us grow, you know? And now we're here.
Yeah, and we're like best friends now over a phone charger.
Yeah. And so you created a new team.
I'm working on creating a team. So
well, to me, it looks like you have a team.
So I created our DBA, which is Homes from the Heart,
Right.
and it's just been me and one other person. But now I'm wanting to expand that. I want to have, a few team members and that have the same values and vision as I do.
Right. And what are some of your values and vision that you have? In case somebody's out there wanting to be part of your team, you know?
I value people, and relationships and authenticity. So our business is done on those basis. What was the question? It was the vision and the values, right? Okay. Can you tell I'm a little nervous?
It's okay.
I forgot the question. The whole question. The
your values. You know, you said you grow your. You're trying to grow your team based on your values and your vision.
Okay, so taking care of people, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who are motivated to teach people, take care of people, and run a business on that stance.
Right.
That's kind of goes with our DBA, Homes from the Heart.
Right.
We lead from the heart first.
Right. And what got you into real estate, if you don't mind me asking?
So COVID.
Really? Interesting.
So I was a healthcare worker for about 11 years. I was a neonatal respiratory therapist. I worked at Stanford Children's recently.
I do see that sweater.
Yeah, I love that sweater. I run with it a lot, and I finally fit into those. So like I wear them a lot. I was
wondering where that sweater came from, but you know.
From the unit. So my job was life or death. So after doing that for so long, I was really looking for a change, but I was looking to do something where I could still help people, but just not in a literal life or death stance. So my friends were like, hey, you should get into real estate. I didn't feel like a salesperson, so I wasn't sure about it. I took the leap of faith. I took the test. I worked both jobs full time for about 2 years. And then realized I was making an impact and I was making a difference and helping people, but just in a different way, in a milestone, a life challenge way. And I really loved it. I loved the relationships that I was building. I felt like all my clients were turning into friends and I was helping build a community. And so I took the leap of faith and I finally quit healthcare. And I don't think I would ever go back. Right.
Yeah. It is it's funny that you said that about sales. And people think they have a misconception, right? Like anything. I would say that real estate is sales to a certain extent, but we're providing
a service, and education.
Exactly.
And helping hold hands to
right.
lead people in the right direction,
right.
or just get them the facts so they can make their best decisions.
Right. And then especially if we have a purpose in life, in that career, it makes it easier for you to help. It's so rewarding to see a client that gets their house for the first time. It's so rewarding when you're trying to relocate somebody and, helping them through the whole process. I mean, we share the same passion, but I can go on and on and on. So I know that, COVID was the reason why you got into real estate. And now that you are in real estate, you said that there's no way you will go back into healthcare. So is this your purpose, you think, now? Looking backwards?
My true purpose has always been to help people.
Right.
To shine light and make an impact on other people's lives.
Right.
And I think this is my purpose.
Right.
I really want to find a way to grow it and just impact the lives of others and help them create more milestones.
Right. I also see that you started with your own neighborhood, in Guadalupe. And so is that how you kind of started building that referral business? Because now pretty much everybody in that neighborhood reaches out to you.
So I moved here and I didn't know anybody on the Central Coast, believe it or not, because I would leave for 6 days at a time, work my 60 hours, and then I would come home. And honestly, I just wanted to spend time at home or having adventures on my own. I didn't make a whole lot of friends out here until I started real estate.
Right.
That's when I really started rooting in the area, was when I decided to do this job. So no one knew me. And in order to do this job, you have to get people to know you.
Right.
So
you can't be a secret agent.
No. And I was definitely a secret because I worked nights. I came home and I pretty much slept during the day when I was here. Right. So I decided, where do I spend my most time? I run around the neighborhood. I ride my bike around the neighborhood. And so I started door knocking. I door knocked and then I threw a community event to try and figure out what was the best way to start this business that was authentic to me. And I like creating community and relationships. Right. So I decided to throw a community event where we brought out all the neighborhood kids in their Halloween outfits and we did free photos. Set up like little hay bales and all that. But it brought the neighbors together and it created a good community. And now I have authentic relationships with my neighbors and they remember me.
Right. And the same thing with the Easter Bunny for Easter.
Yeah. So that was successful. So we decided, let's keep doing it. Right. So then we did Christmas. One of our neighbors volunteered to be a Santa. I wanted to impact the small businesses around. So I contacted all the small businesses in the neighborhood and we did a raffle for the adults. It brought the whole community together. And then we did Easter. My first Easter wasn't great, but it got better as the years went on.
It happens all the time, right? And maybe it was lack of promoting it or whatever.
No, it wasn't that. There were a lot of kids. It was somebody decided to steal all the eggs before 8:30. So I realized I needed more help and that I couldn't just do all of it on my own. Right. And so the following year, neighbors helped. And now it's been 3 successful years of Easter.
Nice. So that's crazy. Somebody will take all the Easter eggs.
They took all the eggs and then they dumped them in a bush. I was so sad.
There's always a hater out there somewhere.
No, I think it was just big kids.
They didn't realize. Just playing.
Yeah, so they hit up all the parks. There were 10 parks, and they literally hit up for all the eggs, and then showed up with all the raffle tickets. But it happens. They learned their lesson, and so did I.
Yeah, it's a learning experience. Yes. And then, so you were telling me, like how the importance of building a team, because right now you were saying I can't do everything by myself. Yeah. And that's kind of like pretty much every agent, right? When you start off, you're technically, even though you have your license with the brokerage, in reality, you are self-employed. Yep. You're your own agent, unless you have a good brokerage that is your, spinal cord that can, help you out with everything. But for the most part, it's you on your own.
Our success is driven by us.
Exactly. So, you tell me that story about the eggs, doing everything yourself. You learn that eventually we do need to, let other people help us out. It's okay to get that help.
and it's okay to ask for help. I'm terrible about asking for help. So that was a big lesson for me was, hey neighbors, there's just one person and there's 1,000 eggs. Can someone help me out? And people were more than happy to help.
Yeah, people always want help, especially if you're helping the community. You know, they want to be a part of something, a movement or whatever you want to call it. And so I see you constantly talking about self-love recently, you know. Obviously in the past you were, like you said, you were kind of like a secret agent. You were just starting off, but now you're a little bit more open up. You're all about self-love, self-care,
self-worth.
Self-worth. You know, we are worthy. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that's new. That's a new journey.
Right.
I've had a lot of life experience lately, and I've had
everybody.
We all go through it. We all go through our ups and downs. And I had to really look at myself in the mirror. Like, I was at a very low point in my life, and I realized, you know, if I keep hanging on to this negativity, it is going to reflect on every part of my life. So I had to learn to really look at myself in the mirror and learn to love myself, and know that I had worth. That's something that's been really difficult, and it's an everyday journey. But I guess it started inspiring people on Instagram because I decided to be raw and open about it, and I had a lot of people reach out. So I kept doing it, and it's been holding me accountable to look in the mirror, let myself know that I am a badass businesswoman. I do make an impact, and I am able to shine the light that I'm looking to.
Yeah, you're making a difference. And not only that, but, you know, we have to believe in ourselves first. I mean, how do you expect a client to believe in you if you don't even believe in yourself? Like,
Imposter
if you're not,
syndrome,
if you're not confident in what you do, it's going to portray in your work. And so therefore your clients are going to be like, I don't know. She doesn't seem like she's confident. She might not negotiate for me, or I might not get that deal or whatever. So it is important to have self-care and self-love and know your worth, you know?
I completely agree, because I think everything that we say to ourselves is a reflection everywhere in our lives, whether that's in relationships, our communities, or in business. People see it.
Right. So another thing, I was invited to one of the events that Jeff
and Amberly
did in Santa Maria, and thanks to you know, I was able to go in and take a friend, but it was an amazing experience as well. Can you elaborate a little bit about that event, how you got involved with it? Because he's your upline. Upline means that.
So in EXP, we have an upline. We have people that bring us on. So what I've realized with EXP is that they do a lot of events, like agent-driven events. And Jeff and Amberly are trying to create something not EXP specific, but to create a community and collaboration in our area.
With other agents. So,
correct.
You know, so that we can network.
And that's kind of what we've been seeing with our brokerage. And so I think they're trying to bring it to where we have group collaboration from all different brokerages, because we're not enemies. We're all friends. We are all going to do business together. And in this specific area, we see each other a lot. Like,
well, it's a small community,
very small. And so we're not just going to do 2 transactions together. I see you all the time. Like, I see your name, and I know, like, oh, it's Liz. I'm going to call her up. I'm going to let her know.
And we're not even like 5 minutes away.
We're not. We're like, what, an hour? 45
pretty
minutes?
much. And we still see each other around.
And then when I see you on your social media, I'm always rooting you on, because you're such a badass.
Oh, thanks. Same to you. But a lot of the times right now, the power of social media, it's very, very important. I mean, you have friends that are so inspiring or support you so much, but yet you haven't met them in person. You know, it's not incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, back to that particular event is the same thing. You know, people were reaching out, like, for example, Eddie Robles. You're like, oh yeah, I know him from social media.
I don't
social media. And the same thing, you know, with them. They're like, oh yeah, I've seen her on social media. But it gives us the opportunity. It gives us the opportunity to meet and then have that connection, even though we haven't physically met. It feels like we've known each other forever.
Because you get to see our personalities on social media.
Exactly. So thank you for that invite. That was amazing. Ming was amazing.
He was awesome.
I mean, I follow him on Instagram. We're constantly sharing his content. So when I got the flyer from you that day, I was like, oh yeah. I'll make sure I go there because I couldn't
Jeff and
miss.
Amberly pulled their magic because they got some great speakers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I met Ricky Mendez at a Carlsbad event. That was our regional rally.
Right.
And they had a connection with him. They were able to bring him. And then I don't know how they got that connection with Min, but
I think it was not Eddie Robles.
through Ricky?
No, through, oh my gosh, I just went. Eddie's cousin, Robles.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Oh, Leo. Yes,
Robles.
Leo's
yeah,
down
sorry,
there.
Leo.
Yes.
I went blank really quick.
I didn't know they were related.
Yeah, they're related.
No
Yeah.
wonder he came down for the event.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see him all over Steve.
Yeah, so
social.
they carpooled together and they came in. They were telling me the story after we were walking out.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool to see all of them from all over the place. I mean, people were driving from out of the area just to this event.
It was pretty cool. We had a great turnout. I think they sold over 140 tickets.
Yeah, it was cool.
How much each ticket?
They were like $10 a piece, but none of my friends paid.
I didn't even know how much they were. I asked her because I didn't.
They did it. They tried to do the event as cheap as they could,
right?
And so I just bought out a ton of tickets, and whoever I felt would enjoy it, I invited them.
Yeah,
and I had extra tickets, so your guys' friends were covered.
Oh, there you go. I know they were. He was like, but she did me dirty. She wrote my name with pink marker.
I was like, I'm going to write this with pink. So I did that to all the boys. I was like, let's challenge your masculinity.
That's funny. But yeah, no, Ricky was amazing. He talked about mindset, the importance of mindset. You know, I emphasize that a lot, you know, affirmations and believing in yourself, gratitude, you know. There's days where I'm running late, like always. But, you know, as soon as I see a green light, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, Lord. Thank you. Because believe it or not, a red light can just put you in a different.
That
yeah.
red life can
Exactly.
Light can save you.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter whatever obstacle you're going through, you know, like if you, like you said, if I'm running late or whatever, there's a reason why. Because then later on, I see there was a car accident.
Yep.
You know, I was in for example, this weekend, we were in Lompoc, and as soon as I got home, my daughter's like, Mom, there was an accident in Lompoc. And I was like, what? You know, so it just kind of makes you think, because we ended up going a different route. And so looking back, you're like, oh, you know, maybe everything happens for a reason.
I truly believe that.
I'm a strong believer on that. I always say that. The same thing with escrows, you know.
Yep.
We deal with escrows all the time, and sometimes, you know, things fall apart or there's delays. And even though we get frustrated or our clients get not frustrated, but discouraged.
Yeah.
There's a reason for everything. You know, maybe God's protecting us from, or whoever it is that you believe, the universe or Buddha or whatever. It's protecting you from, you know, any obstacles that might incur in the future, like
or
for example,
teaching us a lesson like patience.
Exactly.
Anytime I have a tough escrow right now, it's a short sale, there's a divorce, there's court orders, it's just, and then the buyer is contingent on the sale of their home. Everything that you can think of with this one. But and like anytime I would get frustrated, I'd be like, you know what? I'm glad this is happening because it's also teaching me how to navigate this. I've never done a short sale before. Not very many people have. Like, how do I navigate this?
Right.
So just trying to find that positivity and that lesson in all of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it goes back to what Ricky was saying. You know, every negativity that we think it's negative or frustrates us, we should use it with gratitude. Like the crying baby, for example. Yep. I mean, nobody knows this story, but we do. But he was talking about, you know, a scenario where he was in the airplane and there was he was trying to go to sleep. You know, it's a long flight and a baby's crying. He's frustrated. He's upset. But then he realized, like, you know what? Let me change this into gratitude. You know what? I am grateful that baby is crying because I have the ability to hear. You know, and so that, you know, is very powerful because sometimes we take a lot of little things for granted. And so it feels good to be appreciative of the little things
that we actually still have.
Yeah.
Because someone always has it worse.
Oh, yeah. Always. Yeah. Always. Do you have questions?
So you're both realtors?
Yeah.
Yep.
And what would be some advice today in today's market for people who are trying to get into the home buying or if they want to sell? Like, what would you tell them wait now, you know, look at your options. Well, the best time to buy is yesterday, right?
Right.
But as far as like selling, you know, how do you flip back and forth between those two things?
My opinion on that, I think it's based on life circumstance. Like if you need to sell, then we're going to do it.
Right.
If you don't necessarily have to, like I'm probably, not to say this, but I'm probably my worst advocate sometimes, because when someone has an asset, like I had a client recently that was like, hey, I have this house. I want to sell it. I have this much equity. They had quite a bit of equity. And I was like, okay, well, how do we find a way for you to keep this?
Right.
And then buy a new property, build that generational wealth. So then I connected him with a short-term, mid-term rental person who is my business partner. And she ended up getting the deal. I didn't. But it's whatever's based on that person's circumstance.
Right. Right. That's the same thing. I mean, if you ask me when's the best time to buy,
Yesterday.
I'm going to say yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. It's always, you know, you were like, wait a second. Last time Miguel asked me the same question. He's like, when's the best time to buy? I'm like, right now. He said, is right now the best time to buy? I'm like, yes. And he's like, wait a second. You said that when we were buying the house a year ago. Yeah, because it's always the right time to buy as long as everything matches up, right? So I always tell my clients, find out exactly where you qualify right now. If it meets your needs and you're ready to go, then you're prepared. And if an opportunity comes in, then you take advantage of it. But if you're not prepared and an opportunity comes in, it doesn't really matter. Now you're backpedaling. But if you're always prepared for that opportunity, then it's always the right time to buy. Now, unfortunately, there's circumstances where you're so ready to buy, but there's things that are holding you back, whether it's debt, it's credit, is, you know, down payment. Even though there's a lot of down payment assistance programs, they still have requirements, you know? So, you know, those are things that it's important for you to sit down with the loan officer or even your realtor and have them explain to you and go over your particular scenario, because everybody's scenario is different.
Yep.
So once you have your scenario, then we'll know if you're ready or if you're not ready, because it all comes down to the individual. Now, selling, on the other hand, I'm kind of the same way with her. I've you know, my sister, for example, she was trying to buy a house. She bought a house, and I wasn't a realtor back then, so she bought a new built. And later on, she wanted to buy a ranch. Her dream, like all
yours.
of us, yeah, like mine and everybody else's, probably 99.9% of the population would like to have a ranch, right, with animals and whatnot. So she thought, you know, because somebody else previously had told her she needed to sell her house in order to buy another one. And I said, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's options. I mean, you can rent it out, you can sell it. I mean, whatever, you know, but let's find out if you're able to keep it. If you're able to keep it, why not? Why are you going to sell and then, you know, and then regret it, you know, because now it ended up working out. She ended up renting it to her kids. Her kids stay on that house, and now she has her dream home. The same thing with a friend. We had a friend here, another client of mine. He bought a house, and then he thought he needed to sell as well. I'm like, nope, you don't. We use that rental income, you know, to use it for the new property. Now, there's sometimes that if you just bought that property, you might not have, it doesn't work for that rental income, but it becomes a wash. And it's still like you're a brand new buyer. But if you have equity, then you have, you know, some extra income that you can utilize for the new property.
Everyone's situation is so different.
Yeah, everybody's situation is totally different. That's why it's very important for that individual or that family to reach out to somebody and
get
focus
the information.
and get the information and focus on your particular scenario. Because I can't compare myself to you. You can't compare yourself to Miguel. Miguel can't compare himself to me, because we don't all have the same credit score. We all don't have the same income.
And we all manage our finances differently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So get informed, reach out to your realtor, to your loan officer, and we're here to help, you know.
Come up with a plan.
Yeah.
It may not be today, but maybe it is in a couple months from now, a year from now.
Right. And feel free. I mean, ask around. If you feel like you're not getting the answers in one place, you know, feel free to ask somewhere else, and then you'll figure out which one's the best match for you, because not everybody is everybody's match, right?
Yep.
We're here for the best interest of our clients. I provide facts and I provide a service, and obviously, you know, if they like me and respect me, they'll do business with me. If they don't, they move on, and it's okay, you know, because like we said, the sun shines bright on everyone. And,
That's exactly how I see it too. I usually do like a very informal meeting, and I always tell them, I was like, this is your chance to interview me.
Right.
But guess what? I'm also interviewing them.
Right.
To make sure that we are a good fit.
Right.
And that I am going to be able to provide the best service to
Right.
them. And if we're not, then we find somebody that is a good fit.
Right. And that's very important that you said that, because just like we have the right to fire a client or hire a client, they're also hiring us and interviewing us to see if you're going to be the agent that's going to be representing me. Because a lot of the times people have a misconception about that. They're like, oh, wait, no, you're working for me. I'm working for you. And, they're all confused. I'm like, no, I work for you. I provide a service for you. So you have the right to interview me, ask me questions, and I'm your resource, basically.
And I think that's super important. I think it's super important to make sure you interview your agent, interview your lenders, and make sure that they actually align with your goals.
Right. And not only that, but I deal with a lot of the masses. I don't know if you do, but the masses to me is like the minorities, right?
Yep.
The first-time home buyers, the people that have bad credit, the people that are barely making ends meet, that don't have the extra down payment. Now we have to pay for the buyer broker. It's an extra fee on top of closing fees and down payment. So
it's terrifying for them.
So it is. It's intimidating. But, sometimes there's certain lenders, that don't want to take that time or don't have that program, or they don't want to learn that program because they don't want to do that extra work. So it is important for us as well as agents to be the resource for our clients, and see if for whatever reason that loan officer is not helping them, find out who has those programs that are able to help them. Because it is very important. If somebody comes into you and they tell you, oh, well, they're all encouraged. I don't open house, right? They're like, oh, I want to buy a house. And then somebody tells them, no, unless you have $50,000 down, you can't buy a house, because it happens. It happens all the time.
I told you
that.
Right. I talked
Someone
to
just straight
another
up told
realtor.
you no?
Yeah, I had to work on my credit and then build get something along the lines of work on my credit, and then that's it. The conversation ended.
Right.
There was no follow up. There was check back in 30 days.
But
no, that was it.
But they
didn't walk me through anything. No,
or nothing about the credit. Because sometimes it could be something super easy, like paying down a credit card.
Or paying off debt at the end of escrow.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different options, but if you just tell them no, then they have that seed planted in their head.
It was more of like work. Have your wife add you to as an authorized user, and then wait until the credit gets to a certain point, and then that was it. They would check back every 30 days. No, it's confusing, right?
Did you have to check in, or were they checking in with you?
I would call them after like 30 days, and then by then it was 2020, so. Obviously, the houses started shooting up.
Yeah.
So if I would have started at the beginning of 2020 when I asked, and I talked to Liz, for example, I probably would have had a better chance at locking in at 3 point something.
Yeah.
Oh man, what did you know?
Yeah, when they came to me, they were at a higher rate and they qualified.
So then you should have qualified back then.
Exactly. But
it's all about information.
This is why I'm telling you. This is a reason why it's important to make sure that you ask around, and see what your options are, because sometimes one of the things that I always tell my clients is like, si se puede. It's a Mexican. Huh?
Si se puede. Did I get it right?
Si se puede. That means
si
that.
Se puede, no. Am I like, wasn't that the Cheetah Girls? Wasn't it on the Cheetah Girls?
No, Si Se Puede. I think Si Se Puede was that cheerleading, the Latina cheerleading movie.
Wasn't that the Cheetah Girls?
The Cheetah Girls were just rare.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was the cheerleading movie on Disney. Am I getting this wrong?
No, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Si Se Puede, but I don't think it was called Cheetah Girls.
Oh gosh, I think I just made something up. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's move on.
But anyways, so I always tell my clients, si se puede. Like everything's possible. Everything is possible. It's just, it's just getting the right information. So, for example, like I always tell them, don't get discouraged. Even if somebody already planted that seed of like, oh, you can't do it. Because once you tell somebody no,
they
get discouraged. Yeah. And then they're like, why am I going to try? They're going to tell me no.
It should never be no. It should be, it's not working right now. But this is what we need to do to get there.
Let's work on this. Like, this is what we need to do. Let's have a master plan or whatever, to eventually get to that goal. But
you work very similar to the way I do.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's why we love each other.
Yeah. We're going to be the cheetah girls.
Yeah. I really got to figure out what the cheetah girls are now.
But yeah, nothing's impossible. I mean, we're here to help and to find a solution. I always tell them, like, there's no problems. Well, there's always problems, right? But let's find the solution.
Exactly.
Because, we're not going to get stuck right there. And we're not going to hide under a rock and pretend like everything's just going to go away. No, like we're here as a team. Let's work together. The lender, the realtor,
the escrow company,
the listing agent, even the seller, like we're all supposed to be working together. The end goal. Yep. The end goal is for everybody to be happy.
And for everyone to feel like they won. No one to feel like they got taken advantage of.
Exactly. Yeah. So to answer your question.
Talk to multiple realtors.
Yeah.
Interview them.
Yeah.
Find the right one for you.
Find the right one. If you like
Get
them.
Your information.
If you like them, you trust them, the energy is very important. But also get informed.
Yeah.
Make sure that you get the right answers. It's always the right time to buy. Always the right time to buy, as long as you're prepared and the opportunity is there. And then to sell, it's very important to find out your actual needs, because I want a ranch on the beach, but my needs, I can just take a regular ranch over here in Atascadero. But
hey, you still have a bomb ass ranch, and you got me some good eggs.
I know, right? But you know what I mean? Like the difference between needs and wants. So that's why it's very important.
Having realistic expectations.
Right. So now you've been in the business since COVID.
It's been going to be 4 years. I'm renewing my license right now.
Oh, I know. Fun. I just did that last year. So how has it been these last 4 years, from the beginning?
So I wasn't a COVID agent. I got on after COVID.
Okay.
I got my license in 2021, and I think I worked some tough markets. But I have a lender partner that tells me that. He's like, you've worked some of the toughest markets and you've been okay. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
But it's also taught me a lot.
Yes.
So,
and that's very important. And, right now you say that taught you a lot. Every transaction is it the same?
Experience.
Is it the same?
No, and that's what I tell my agents. It's you're going to get through a transaction. You're going to feel sufficient to do the next one, but then every single one is new.
Throws you a curveball.
You're learning something new all the time. I am too. We're never going to know everything. It doesn't matter if you've been in the business for 5 minutes or if you've been in the business 30 years. There's still something new.
Right.
It's just like human bodies. That's how I look at it. When I was working in healthcare, we never knew everything.
Right.
And you'll never know everything in real estate.
Right.
Things are constantly changing. The market's always changing.
The market's changing. Obviously the rates, the programs, our forms are changing.
Yep.
Constantly everything's
Rules
changing.
And regulations are changing. The things that we're allowed to do and can't do.
Right. Like right now,
informed.
The buyer broker, for example.
Or like lending, the changes that we've had in VA loans in the last few years. Just keeping up to date so that you have the most information.
Right. Yeah, being up to date is very, very important. He's looking at me like he has another question.
You mentioned at the beginning, you went door to door at the beginning.
Oh, gosh.
For me, I just picture a door salesman getting the door shut down.
No, I was in workout clothes.
How was workout clothes? So they knew you because you were around.
They knew me because they saw me riding my bike or they saw me running, and so I didn't look at it as a sales thing. So I actually teamed up with a local friend. Mm-hmm. We're best friends now, but they had opened up an ice cream shop, and they a little rolled ice cream little truck, and they would park, and they were trying to get business. So I talked to her. I was like, you know what? Can I team up with you and I'll do $1 off coupon on this to introduce myself, and I'll pay for everybody that redeems this. Only 6 people redeemed it. And I hit 500 houses. Hey, but people did it.
Right.
So it got her business out and mine. So I would knock on the door and I would say, hey, I just want you to know I'm one of your neighbors. I just got in the real estate business. If you ever have any needs, here you go. Right. And then try to connect with them on a different level. Mm-hmm. Not everybody opened the door. Not everybody liked me. But
some people might be working.
Yes,
stuff like that.
Yes. It was in the evening that I did it. So because that was typically when I was available too. Mm-hmm. But after a while, people started looking forward to me knocking on that door because they were getting an invitation to the fall festival or to the
You didn't
Easter
just
egg hunt.
knock once.
Oh,
You
no.
came back
No,
around the door.
I was the big thing when you're starting the business is consistency.
Right.
Be consistent. People need to know who you are. Knocking on that door one time, you're just another salesperson.
Right.
You need to have human interaction.
Right.
My goal with that was, okay, I'm seeing 500 people. If I can just make 10 genuine connections, like that's valuable to me. Because that's how my business is ran. It's off of relationships.
That's how I started. Started door knocking, open houses, all that stuff. And consistency is key.
Yep.
You know, and now I get referrals and people come back and, you know, but I still do open houses. I still go door knocking, you know, and I wish I could be a little bit more consistent in my door knocking as I was back then. But I'm still doing it, you know, even it doesn't matter how many years you've been in the business. You have to go grassroots. Grassroots are the way to go. Like everybody tells me, oh, do they give you leads? No. You have to work. I mean,
I don't think I've ever worked.
Real estate is not selling sunsets. You know,
No,
everybody has
they make it look so glamorous.
I know. I wish, but
I wish it was that glamorous.
But unfortunately, it's not. You know, you're jumping fences. You're
mowing lawns.
Yeah, I'm hiking a hill. You know, in my high heels or whatever. You know, it's like. There's a lot of behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know.
Cleaning people's houses.
Open
houses.
Yeah, we talked about that. Remember on the last episode?
Yeah.
That
I always bring cleaning supplies. I bring a vacuum. My car is packed to the brim because not everybody has the time, and sometimes people have kids. Sometimes there's accidents. They're rushing out of the house, but you want to make sure their house shows in the best light. So I will wipe a couple mirrors, clean a toilet, pick up dog poop if I have to, and cut a lawn just to make sure it works.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I know that's funny that you said that. I used to do an episode called Anchor Agents with Kyle Batty, and it was me and another
I love Kyle.
And we used to talk about the random things that we always carried in our trunks as a real estate agent, you know, because we constantly had like, you know, cleaning wipes and this and that. Measuring tape.
Booties.
And, you name it. A lot of things.
Ties. God, people are going to think that we're like serial killers.
Are you guys kidnapping people? Is that what's going on?
Zip ties are for my signs. It's windy in Guadalupe.
It is. No, I know. Everybody tells us the same thing. I'm like, what?
Why do you have all these zip ties? Do you have rope in there too, Liz?
No, I actually do. Believe it or
You live
not.
on a farm. It makes sense.
But it's crazy, you know, like everybody conducts their business differently, but it seems like we're
very similar.
But yeah, you'll be surprised what's on the trunk of a real estate agent and on the passenger side seat, you know, the paperwork and
all
the notes.
the stuff, the lock boxes, the notebooks, the CMAs. What else do I sometimes? Well, I have a lot of shoes and socks because I do a lot of activities.
But grassroots, you know, doing the door knocking.
Hone into what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like that's something I'm learning. I've been getting a lot of mentoring and trying how to lead people because I know how to lead myself. But learning how to lead people and work with people is difficult. It's a learning experience. Yeah. You got to learn to navigate personalities.
And you have to understand, be understanding.
And what their motivation is. Why are they in the business? What are they doing this for? What are they good at? Hone into what they're good at.
Yeah.
Whether
and
that's
focus
social media.
and learn to pivot and take, like if somebody's good at social marketing or whatever, you know, let them do that. If you're good at people networking, then you do that. If the other person is more hands-on, let them do that.
If you got a podcast about real estate, let them do that.
Yeah, you're really good at this. You eased my nerves. I'm not sweating anymore. Right?
Everybody says the same thing. Everybody's like super nervous at the beginning.
First couple minutes.
I've hit my head a couple times, but I've just been going with it.
And then afterwards they're like, oh, when can I come back? Oh, whenever you want.
I'm gonna do this again.
Yeah, see?
It's like, I was freaking out in the car the whole time.
Well, we're almost to the end of it, and so I'm really, really, really excited that you came. You know, I'm very grateful for you to stopping by. You drove all the way from Guadalupe.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my last guest came from San Ynez, so that just shows, you know, the power of, you know, like networking and
I think you have a lead from Instagram, right?
Yeah, already right away from that.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. And we had another loan officer, and right away he got a deal too from the podcast. So it's all about working together, networking, and inspiring each other and helping each other. Like, never forget that. But how would you like to end this podcast? You know, do you have a inspirational quote, or
Where can
like
they find her first too?
Oh, where can you find me? Follow me
true.
on social media. You'll
Yeah.
learn everything you need to know about me on social media. My social media is
her fur babies?
my fur babies. I've got 5. Should I give them my Instagram handle?
Yeah,
Is that what I'm doing?
Why not?
Yeah, so they can follow you. And,
Okay, so
you
my
know?
Instagram handle is sonamnarayan.re. So are you going to put my name on this, or should I spell this?
Yeah, no, we'll tag you on the video as well.
Okay,
but
perfect.
yes, follow her. You can spell it out if you want. Your
It's
phone number, whatever you.
N as in Nancy, A M as in Mary, NARAYEN.RE. Follow me, and I'll follow you back.
Yeah, there you go. You never know. She might invite you to their Halloween event that's coming
Or
up.
maybe if you're an agent, I can take you to an event. I've been doing a lot of EXP
Yeah,
events lately.
yeah.
Going to New York next.
I know.
So you should come with me.
I know, right?
I've been trying to recruit her to go to an event. You don't have to come to EXP, but
No,
I would love
I
for
know.
you to go to an
Yeah.
event.
Do you want to
No.
bring your podcast producer with you?
Oh, you
I
should.
know,
join
right?
up. I was like, let's do it. Let's go to
Right?
New York.
I know she invited me to Cabo, but I had
New
career
York,
day.
Dallas,
I had career day.
Miami. Choose.
I know, right? All 3 of them.
And the next year we'll go international.
But yeah, if you would like to end with some inspiration, any advice that you would like to give,
Oh gosh,
you know,
you put me on the
everyone.
spot. Well, my biggest advice is to be yourself. Be your authentic self. Do what makes you happy, and look in that mirror and have worth. Know you're worth it.
Right. You are worth it.
Yes, you are.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram and let me know if there's anything else you guys want us to talk about. But I thought this was very important, talking about self-worth, grassroots, and you know how she started her team. And anybody that's interested in becoming a real estate agent or being part of a team, feel free to reach out to us at any time.
I would love that.